Hare Krishna. Welcome to all the devotees to our weekly session program. So in the previous weeks, we were discussing from third canto, chapter 21-22. We have seen that being ordered by Lord Brahma, Kardamuni performed tapasya in order to get a suitable wife, with her help, he wanted to fulfill the desire of his father, begetting children, and then filling the universe with many variety of living entities, etc. So, as a result of his tapasya, Lord Vishnu appeared and blessed him that 2 days from now, Swayambhu Manu would come with his wife and daughter, and they will hand over their daughter in marriage to you, Karke. So Lord Vishnu left. Then, as promised, as predicted by Lord Vishnu, 2 days later, Swayambhu Manu and Satarupa came along with their daughter Devahuti, and after having some cordial discussion, the marriage was done between both Devahuti and Kardama, and Swayambhu Manu left to his home. And there is some discussion about how Swayambhu Manu is living in his kingdom. It was known as Barishmati, the modern day Bittur. That is where his kingdom was lying. So then his wonderful qualities and kingdom, etc., were discussed in that section. And then in 23rd chapter, which we discussed in the previous class, wherein how the marriage life of Devahuti and Kardama went on. So being a Brahmana, being a sage, Kardama was always engaged in performing austerities, tapasya and yajna, etc. And Devahuti was very humbly and very menially serving him as a chaste and surrendered wife. And by doing so, she actually became very lean, very thin, very much dirty. Her clothes were full of dirt and torn here and there, etc. So Kardamuni became so compassionate that how can a princess, the daughter of the monarch, can be so dedicated in her service towards her husband, and she was not at all caring about herself, not at all worried about her current condition. So out of compassion, out of concern for her, the Kardamuni mentions that as a wife, you have helped me performing all my devotional service, and whatever benefits I have received, you are entitled to receive all the benefits. So I would like to award you all the benefits that I have received. Please ask for whatever you want. These benefits are all spiritual in nature. They never end. They never have any disturbances. They are full of happiness, etc. So then Devahuti, having affection towards her husband, she reminded him of a promise that Kardamuni made while marrying Devahuti. That Kardamuni made a promise to her parents during the time of marriage. Then he said that I will accept your daughter in marriage too, but with a condition. That is, as soon as I beget some children through your daughter, I will go on to the forest, taking on renunciation. So that was the condition put by Kardama. But Devahuti reminds him of the first part, that you promised my parents that you would beget children through me. So without speaking any word, through her glances, through her facial expressions, through her smile, through her gestures, she communicated to Kardama that kindly fulfill that promise of yours, that you would beget children through me. And for any chaste wife, it is worthy of honor to beget children from a highly respectable husband. So that was the desire she expressed without speaking any words to her husband. So then, understanding the desire of Devahuti, without speaking a word, Kardama immediately created a wonderful aerial mansion, which is made up of multi-story buildings and so many, all the different facilities are there. That aerial mansion is so huge and so wide that everything a person can think of is available. Wonderful buildings with wonderful canopies and sanctoriums and so many entrances made up of coral doors and diamond-studded joints and so many other things like that. Everything is filled with all those things that can be expected. So in one way we can see that the opulences a king might have, better than that, or the opulences the devatas might have, better than that, this aerial mansion possesses all the different kinds of opulences. And the opulences are so great that even Kardama was thinking that wow, what kind of astonishment have created. So it is as if he became wonderstruck. That kind of creation made by the mystic potency of Kardama. Vihara sthana vishrama samvesha pranganarjitai etopajosham rachitair vismapanam ivatmana. As if Swayambhu Kardamuni becomes Vismapan, Vismay, Acharya Chikit ho gaya. So it is like that was the kind of creation was done by Kardama with only one intention, to please his wife. So this is where we stopped in the last class. And then what happened? We'll continue with verse number 22 onwards. Idrigraham tat pashyantim nati pritena chetasa sarvabhutashayabhijna provachat Kardama swayam. So here it is mentioned that idrigraham tat pashyantim nati pritena chetasa. Having seen the mystical creation by Kardama Muni, her husband, Devahuti did not pleased completely. She was pleased to see the wonderful aerial mansion, but she was not completely pleased. The reason we don't know as of now, but she was not completely pleased within herself. Sarva Bhutashaya Bhijna Provachat Kardama Swayam. Kardama Muni is a great, wonderful personality and is also a mystic personality. He is the one who had the capability to understand what is there in the heart of each and every living entity. Sarva Bhuta Ashaya Abhijna. Sarva Bhuta means all living entities. Ashaya is the subtle body or the heart. Whatever is there in the heart of all the living entities can be understood by the great personality like Kardama. So understanding what was there in the heart of Devahuti, Kardama spoke to Devahuti. Provachat Kardama Swayam. Nimajjasmin hrude bhiru vimanam idamaruha idam shukla kritam tirtam ashisham yapakam ranam. Understanding what was there in the heart of Devahuti, Kardamuni requested her. So, oh beautiful one, kindly enter into this lake. Nimad Jasmine Hrude. Hrude means a water lake. Kindly enter into this lake and then enter into the aerial mansion. Vimanam idam aruha. Before entering into the aerial mansion, first kindly enter into this lake. What is the speciality of that lake? Idam Shukla Kritam Tirtham. This lake was made into a beautiful tirtha or a auspicious tirtha by Lord Vishnu himself. Previously, when I performed austerities for 10,000 years, when Lord Vishnu appeared to bless me, being pleased with my devotional service, Lord Vishnu shed tears. And those tears are captured by this lake. And this lake, in one sense, had become a beautiful or a most auspicious lake in this entire universe by the teardrops of Lord Vishnu personally. That's why it is called as Shukla Kritam Tirtham. Lord Vishnu personally made this lake into a beautiful tirtha. Ashisham Vyapakam Nunam. So kindly enter this lake, take bath, and then climb onto the aerial mansion. So like that. Satad bhartu samadaya vacha kuvalayekshana sarajam bibhrati vaso veni bhutam shamurdajan. So here it said that Satad Bhatru Samdaya Vacha Kuvala Yakshana. The lotus-eyed Devahuti, following the instructions of her husband Kardama, immediately entered into that particular lake. And sarajam, her whole body is filled with so much soil and dust. Bibrati vaso, her clothes are also filled with so much dust and so much soil. Veni bhutamsha murdajan, so her whole personality was covered with dust, just like the creepers which come out of muddy land. They are also filled with a lot of dust, especially in the rainy season when there are so many rains. So all the creepers are filled with so much dust, something like that. She was like a creeper, but completely covered with a lot of dust. So in such condition, she entered into that Bindu Sarovar, Shukla Kritam Tirtham, made by Lord Vishnu, made auspicious by Lord Vishnu himself. Angam Chamala Pankena, Samchannam Sabalastanam, Avivesha Sarasvatya, Sarashiva Jalashayam. So being covered with dirt, Angamcha Malapankena, her whole body was filled with dust and she was like looking very dirty. But in that condition, Avivesha Sarasvatya, she immediately entered into that lake, which is surrounded by Saraswati river. Sarashiva Jalashayam. Shiva Jalashayam means the most auspicious water body. It is a lake, but it is the most water body of most auspicious water because it is consisting of the teardrops of Lord Vishnu personally, transcendental teardrops of Lord Vishnu personally. So in that way, it contains the water from Saraswati river because it is a lake adjacent to Saraswati river, and also the teardrops of Lord Vishnu are there. That's why it is called as Shiva Jalashayam, the most auspicious water body. So then what happened? Santa Sarati Veshmasta Shatani Dasha Kanyaka Sarva Kishora Vayaso Dadarshotpala Gandaya. So Santa Sarati Veshmastam, as soon as she entered into that Shiva Jalashaya, the most auspicious water body, there she saw Shatani Dasha Kanyaka. Shatani Dasha means 1000, that is 1000 Kanyakas, 1000 young ladies. Sarva Kishora Vayaso, all of them are of the age of Kaishora, from 11 to 15, that is Kaishora age. So they are all like very young girls, they are all there. Dadarsha Utpala Gandaya, they are looking like Utpala lotus flowers. They are not only they're looking like lotus flowers, and they are also emitting fragrance of the lotus flowers. So that kind of the nature of these girls, 1000 such girls are there in the water body. And as soon as Devahuti entered into that water body, she first saw these 1000 young beautiful girls. Tam drishtva sa sottaya prochu pranjalaya shriya vayam karma karistubhyam sadina karavamakim. Tam drishtva sahasottaya. Initially they were all, when Devahuti saw them, they were all seated. But when they saw Devahuti, they immediately got up. Sahasa uttaya, they immediately all of them together got up. Prochu pranjalaya shriya, and they all kind of put in namaskar pose and offer their humble respects to Devahuti. And then they spoke that Vayam karma karistubhyam, we are your maid servants. Karma karistubhyam, we are all your maid, humble maid servants. And sadhina karavamakim, kindly instruct us what we are, how we are supposed to serve you, in what way we can serve you. So these are the two words spoken by the 1000 young beautiful ladies who introduced themselves as the maid servants of Devahuti. Snanena tam maharnena स्नापयित्वा मनस्विनीं दुकूले निर्मले नूत्ने ददुर् अस्यै च मानदा. So they understood from Devahuti what, in what way they can serve her. Understanding the intentions of Devahuti, that previously she was feeling few things are inadequate in her personality. So even though the beautiful aerial mansion is created, she was thinking that I have no maid servants. I, in my bodily condition, my current condition is not at all fit for begetting children. Not at all fit for some recreation. So she was thinking like that. Understanding her mentality, Kardamuni created 1000 beautiful ladies who are like Apsaras, the angels, and they also looking at Devahuti understood what Devahuti wanted. Understanding her intention, Snanena, they made Devahuti sit on a wonderful asan, and with all the variety of fragrant oils and so many other variety of elixirs, they made her bathe. Snapayitva manaswini. So they made Devahuti took bath with so many fragrant oils and so many other elixirs, which can refresh her, which can rejuvenate her, which can bring back her old beauty, which can rejuvenate her worn out body, something like that. Dukule nirmale nutne dadur asya manada. So having bathed, she got new appearance. That previously her whole body was covered with lot of dirt. Now all the dirt is removed. So now she became fresh. She looking very beautiful. So in that way. Bhushanani parardyani variyamshi dyumanti cha annam sarva gunopetam panam chaima urtasavam. So after bathing her, they gave her so many wonderful clothing and ornaments and so many other decorative items. So having worn all the clothes and all the decorative items, she looked very beautiful. Dhumanti, like a lightning strike. And then having bathed her, having decorated her, Annam Sarva Gunopetam, they gave her food of all good qualities. Annam Sarva Gunopetam. Panam Chaivamrutasavam. They gave her nectarian beverages, liquids, by that food and the liquids, she regained her old beauty. She regained her old physical strength, etc., etc. Because now she became, because of the so many austerities over the years, she became lean. By eating the food and by drinking that beverages, liquor, and by drinking that elixirs and etc., she rejuvenated herself. So in that way, Amruta Asavam. Amruta Asavam, nectarian liquids, sweet liquids. So drinking which she rejuvenated her former beauty, etc. Atadarshē samatmanam sragvinam virajambaram virajam kruta swastyenam kanyabir bahumanatim. So she saw herself in a mirror. Atadarshē, darshe means mirror. Atadarshē samatmanam swarginam virajambaram. So she saw herself in the mirror that she became so beautiful. She regained her former beauty, and whatever dirt previously she was occupied her body completely removed, and her lean condition was completely rejuvenated. Kanyabir Bahu Manatim. And all the maid servants are taking care of her very respectfully and very nicely. That's why Krita Swasti Ayanam. She became the most auspicious and most beautiful. Snatam Kruta Shirasnanam Sarvabarana Bhushitam Niksha Grivam Valainam Pujat Kanchana Nupuram. So she took head bath. Sthanam Kruta Shirasnanam, because her head was filled with so many dirt all these years, and she, by taking head bath, Sarva Barana Bhushitam, and her head was decorated with all the variety of decorative items. Nishka Grivam, and her neck was also decorated with so many ornaments, so many necklaces, etc. Kujat Kanchana Nupuram, and she also has so many armlets and anklets and earrings, etc., etc. So many things. She was very nicely, and she is looking at herself the way the maid servants have decorated her. So this is all indicated here, this verse. Shronyor adyastaya kancha kanchanya bahuratnaya harena cha maharena ruchakena cha bhushitam. And she was also decorated with so many other variety of ornaments and niksha ornaments, etc., amulets. So many such kind of decorations were there. And she was wearing gold belt and many other jewels around her waist and so many things. So all the different variety of decoration that she is looking herself in the mirror. Sudata Subruva Slakshna Smigda Pangena Chekshusha Padmakosha Sprudha Nilair Alakaischa Lasanmukam. So she saw herself in the mirror. Her face was looking very beautiful, very happy, very satisfied. And she was looking at her teeth also, were looking very bright. So, etc. And her entire countenance, Padma Kosha Spardha Nilair. So her entire beauty is competing with the beauty of the lotus in the water body. So something like that. So her beauty actually defeats the beauty of the lilies in the water body in that way. Yada samsmara rishabam rishinam daitampati tatra chaste sahasribir yatraste cha prajapati. Then she remembered that my husband is so great that he understood what is there in my mind, what is there in my heart, and he accomplished everything. So aerial mansion is created, her former beauty was restored, and she is surrounded with so many maid servants. As soon as she remembered her husband, she was thinking about her husband like this. Immediately, she herself and all the 1000 maid servants were transported to the aerial mansion. So they no need to come out of the water body, and they immediately transported to aerial mansion. So in that way. Tatra chaste sahasribir yatraste cha prajapati. They went to the aerial mansion where the Prajapati, that is Kardamuni, was situated or seated. Bhartu purastadatmanam Stri Sahasravritam tada Nishamya tad yogagatim Samshayam Pratyapadyata. So seeing herself surrounded by that 1000 maid servant, seeing herself regained her former beauty, seeing herself seated in a beautiful aerial mansion next to her husband, she was very much astonished at the mystical potency of her wonderful husband. So she was surprised by looking at all these change of events, turn of events. Samshayam Pratya Padyata. She was so much astonished, something like that. So that's what she is expressing, her astonishment and satisfaction at the turn of events. Satam Krutamalasnanam Vibrajantim Apurvavat Atmano Vibratim Rupam Samvita Ruchirastanam Vidyadari Sahasrena Sevyamanam Suvasasam Jata Bhavo Vimanam Tad Arohayad Amirahan. So being seated next to her husband and surrounded by 1000 maid servants, she was very much astonished and very much satisfied, very much happy. On the other hand, looking at the transcendental beauty of his wife and looking at her satisfaction, Kardama Muni also became very happy and he became attracted to her. So in that way. So Jata Bhava Vimanam Tad Arohayad Amitrahan. So in that way. So being surrounded by all those maid servants and Devahuti, Kardamuni was feeling very much satisfied. Tasmin alupta mahima priyayanurakto vidyadharibi upachirna vapur vimane babraja utkucha kumud ganavana pishas tarabhiravritya ivodu patirna basta. So being surrounded by these 1000 maid servants and Devahuti in that aerial mansion, Kardama Muni was looking like the entire scene is like a comparison on the full moon day. Kardama Muni was looking like the moon, and Devahuti and all the other stars, I'm sorry, all the other maid servants, they were all looking for like so many other stars surrounding the moon, and the entire aerial mansion is looking like the sky, the night sky. So Kardamuni was brightly shining in the midst of all the beautiful ladies along with Devahuti. So the entire scene was looking so beautiful and so astonishing that it looks like the full moon night. Yesterday it was full moon day and yesterday night was full moon night. Of course, nowadays we are going through rainy season, so we don't have that good fortune of looking at the moon, full moon and stars. And yesterday it was Bhadra Purnima, and the next Paurnami will be Sharat Purnima. And that was the day Lord Krishna was Lord Krishna chose to perform Rathalila pastimes. And in the Bhagavatam 32nd chapter or something like that, there also the same comparison is given. Being surrounded by Srimati Radharani and all the other gopis, Lord Krishna also looked like the moon surrounded by so many twinkling stars on the night of the full moon, on the full moon night, something like that. The same analogy we can see. So it is like that. So if rain stops on the Sharat Purnima day, we can have the beautiful sight of full moon surrounded by so many stars, etc. Te nasta lokapa vihara kula chalendra dronishu anangasaka maruta saubhagastu siddhernuto dyuduni pata shivasvanasu preme chiram danadaval lalanavaruti. So it is mentioned that in order to please his wife, so being surrounded by 1000 maid servants and seated along with his wife on wonderful sofa, Kardamuni thought within his mind that let me go on travel, aerial travel. So then the aerial mansion took them to the place where Mount Meru is situated. So in the Bhagavatam 5th canto, we'll be reading about all these things. So there it will be said that, so out of 14 planetary systems, the 7th one from the top is called as Bhuloka. It is also called as Bhumandala. In Bhumandala, there are 7 islands and 7 oceans, surrounded by 7 oceans. The innermost island is Jambudvipa. Within Jambudvipa, there are 9 Varshas. One Varsha is known as Bharata Varsha. And within Bharata Varsha, there are 9 divisions, 9 islands. One of the 9 islands is called as Bhartakanda. And that Bhartakanda is our Earth globe. So our Earth globe is very, very tiny, small portion. So from that Bhartakanda, Kardama Muni took Devahuti to the middle of the Jambudvipa. In the middle of Jambudvipa, there is Ilavarta Varsha. In the middle of Ilavarta Varsha, there is Mount Meru. So surrounding Mount Meru, there are so many pleasure places. There are so many wonderful gardens and lakes and so many beautiful sights are there. So Kardama Muni took his wife to those places. Tenasta lokapa vihara kulachalendra. So the devatas, whenever they want to go on some excursion, some tour, they bring their consorts to these places, to the valleys of Mount Meru. That is where so many pleasure gardens and pleasure lakes are there. So Kardama Muni also, with a great personality, great powerful personality on par with the devatas, took his wife to the same pleasure places. Kulachalendra refers to, Kulachala refers to Mount Meru. Indra refers to the king of all the mountains, that is Mount Meru. Dronishu, at the valleys, lower valleys of that entire Mount Meru and so many other places. surrounding that. Ananga Saka Maruta Saubagasu. So just like the wind goes to different places as per its own will, Kardamuni by his own will made the aerial mansion to take them to different places according to his desire. So the aerial mansion took them to various places surrounding Mount Meru, wonderful, beautiful places. That entire place is filled with beautiful breezes and fragrant birds, wonderful trees, gardens, water lakes, etc. So entire area is like heaven. Everything is wonderful and beautiful. To those places, he took her. वैश्रम्भके सुरसने नंदने पुष्पभद्रके मानसे चैत्ररत्ये च सारे में रामयारता. So in the Bhagavatam 5th canto also we read that within Ilavrta there are 4 mountains. At the base of those 4, surrounding Mount Meru, there are 4 other mountains. At the base of those 4 mountains, there are 4 wonderful gardens. Their names are Chitrarata. That's why it is called Chaitrarate either. Vibrajata. So here it is called Vishrambake. In the 5th canto, it is called Vibrajaka. Here it is called Vishrambake. And Chitrarata, Vibrajaka, Nandana, and Sarvato Bhadra. Here it is called Surasane. So these were the 4 names given in the 5th canto. Here a little bit difference is there. And there is one more garden is Manasa. Here Manasa refers to Manasarovar. Manasarovar is located next to Kailash, and the Kailash is located on the greater Himalayas. Within our Earth globe, we have Himalayas. These are called as lower Himalayas, Anu Himalayas, something like that. And on the upper boundary of Bharatavarsha, because our place is Bharatakanda, it is 1/9 of Bharatavarsha. On the northern side of Bharatavarsha, there are greater Himalayas. So in the greater Himalayas, Lord Shiva personally stays along with Mother Parvati, Ganesh, and Kartikeya and Nandi, etc. All those associates of Lord Shiva, they all stay there. So that is where Manas Sarovar is there. So Manas Sarovar is the place where Mother Parvati takes bath every day. Manas Sarovar, like even here also, people when they go to Kailash, they say that they have visited Manas Sarovar, they took bath there, etc., etc. All those things are mentioned. So something like that. So he took her to Greater Himalayas, where Manas Sarovar Lake is there, beautiful, wonderful pleasure areas. So etc. So that is where they all went. And in addition to one thing I forgot to mention, Dudni Pata Shivas Swanasu. It indicates that the Ganga, which entered into our universe by the touch of Lord Vamana. Recently, last week, I think it is on Friday, we had celebrated Vamana Dvadashi, the appearance day of Lord Vamana. Lord Vamana appeared to Aditi and Kashyapa. On the same day, they performed all the ceremonies, all the birth ceremony, Upana ceremony, etc. Then immediately Lord Vamana went to the sacrificial arena of Bali Maharaj, where he was performing the 100 sacrifice. After dethroning Indra from heaven, the disciples of Shukracharya, they made Bali Maharaj to perform 100 sacrifices. Somehow by defeating Indra, he had become Indra. But in order to continue as Indra, one need to perform 100 sacrifices. That's why Indra's another name is Shatakratu. He who had successfully performed 100 sacrifices. And is also sometimes called in short form as Shakra. Shatakratu becomes Shakra. One word from each letter. So one letter from each word. Something like that. So while he was performing 100 sacrifice, in order to disrupt that sacrifice, Vamana, Lord Vamana, comes to that sacrificial arena, and he requests for a small charity, that 3 paces of land according to his own measurement. So he has put a condition. He just need 3 paces of land according to his own measurement. And Bali Maharaj thought that, okay, you are a great personality, you are looking for a wonderful, beautiful Brahmana boy, and you are speaking all wonderful words, but you don't have good intelligence. You are asking only 3 paces of land. I am the king of three planetary systems, Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, and Swargaloka. Ask for something bigger. So then Lord Vamana says that one who is not satisfied whatever one has, even if 7 islands of Bhumandala are given to that person, will not be satisfied. I'm satisfied with the 3 pairs of land. Kindly give me that much is enough. So, okay. That time Shukracharya understand that this personality is not an ordinary person. Is Lord Vishnu himself. He has come to cheat you in order to favor Devatas. Don't give him charity. Then Bali Maharaj thought for a while. Then he said that, so my dear Guru Maharaj, I don't know whether it's Vishnu or not. If at all is Vishnu, but he has come disguised as a Brahmana. And I have already given a word to this Brahmana by that I will give you charity. And my grandfather was Prahlad Maharaj. How can I not please the Brahmanas coming in the discipline in the line of Prahlad Maharaj? And my father was Virochana. Even when Devatas came in the disguise of Brahmanas, when they asked the life of my father happily gave his life. So we may fight. If Vishnu comes himself directly, I am ready to fight. But I will not go back. Matlab, Vishnu in the sense Vishnu comes along with Indra and others, I will ready to fight with. I will not go back in my words or giving charity to Brahmanas. So I will give charity to this Brahmana by telling those words to Shukracharya. And even in spite of displeasing Shukracharya, in spite of accepting the curse by Shukracharya, that Shukracharya curses him that you will lose all your opulences, Bali Maharaj gives the charity by washing the feet of Lord Vamana. So then Lord Vamana expanded himself. With 1 feet, he covered the entire Bhumandala. With 1 feet, he covered the entire Bhumandala. With other feet, he covered the upper 6 planetary systems, Bhuvarloka, Swargaloka, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Satyaloka. And his toenail going so high that it pierced the universal shell. And then the water which is there outside the universe, the causal ocean or Karna ocean, where Karnadoksha Vishnu was lying down and creating all the universes, that water entered into our universe. First it came to Satyaloka, where Lord Brahma resides. Understanding what is happening in within an instant, Lord Brahma collected those water in his Kamandalu and he did Abhishek of Lord Vamana's, Lord Trivikrama's lotus feet. And that water became known as Bhagavat Padi. Because that water, the water of causal ocean entered into our universe, being the universal being pierced by the toenail of Lord Vishnu, Lord Trivikrama. That is one reason. And now Lord Brahma, after collecting that water, washed the feet of Lord Vamana, or Lord Trivikrama, more precise. So it became known as Bhagavat Padi. That water emanated from the lotus feet of Lord Bhagavan, Lord Vishnu. That water is nothing but the foot wash of Lord Vishnu. In both ways, it is called Bhagavat Padi. Then passing through Janaloka, Tapaloka, Maharloka, it comes to Dhruvaloka, and Dhruva Maharaj also worships Ganga. Then comes down to Saptarushi Mandal. All the Saptarishis collect those water and keep on their head. And then gradually comes down to Chandraloka. Then comes to the top of Mount Meru. From the top of Mount Meru, it comes down to Jambudipa and flows through the entire Jambudipa. Even Ilavata Varsha also, the waters of Ganga is there. And Kardama Muni showed that Ganga, which was flowing in different streams, to Devahuti. That's why it is called as Dyuduni. Many times it is also called as Swarduni. Dyu means Swarga. Dyu means Antariksha or the upper world. So that Ganga which is coming down from the top of the universe all the way up to Mount Meru or even up to Jambudipa, it is called Akasha Ganga. That water is simply dropping down from the top within the ether. It has no passage to flow through. It is simply dropping down. That's why it is called as Akasha Ganga. It is also called as Swarduni. It is also called as Dyuduni. Because Dyu means Antariksha or outer space or heavenly abodes. So in that way. Dyuduni Pata Shiva Swanasu. The auspicious streams of Mother Ganga were also shown by Kardamuni to Mother Devahuti. So that is also one point in this verse. So in addition to showing all those wonderful places in Jambudi, in Ilavrata Varsha, Kardamuni also showed Manas Sarovar, which is there on the greater Himalayas, to Devahuti. So in that way. Sa Reme Ramaya Rata. So in that way. Prajishnuna Vimanena Kamagena Mahiyasha Vaimanikan Atya Sheta Cheralokan Yata Anila. Yata Anila. Just like air goes from place to other place without any obstruction. Similarly, just by his own will, the aerial mansion can travel to place to place, place to place. Kama Gena Mahiyasa. The airplane can travel at his own will, at his own desire. And it surpassed the Vaimanikan Atyaseta Charalokan Yatanila. It actually surpassed the Vimanas of Devatas. Even Indra, Chandra, Varuna, all the Devatas also have aerial mansions like this. But Kardama's creation surpassed the Vimanas of the Devatas. That is the greatness of Kardama's mystic creation. So it is like that. Kim Durapadanam Tesham Pumsham Uddama Chetasam Air Ashritas Tirtapadas Charano Vyasanatyaya Tirtapada Charano Vyasana Atyaya. Those whose mind is always meditating upon the wonderful lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Tirtha Pada, the wonderful lotus feet of the Tirtha personified Lord Vishnu. What is impossible for them? Kim Durapadanam Tesham. What they cannot do? They can do everything and anything. So, this creation of Kardamuni surpassing the Devatas' opulences is not at all astonishing, because he is such a wonderful, great devotee of the Supreme Lord. He can do anything. So that is the greatness of devotional service of Kardama. Prekshayitva bhuvogolam patnayavan swasamstaya bahuvacharvyam mahayogi swashramaya nyavartata. And Kardamuni not only showed the entire Jambudipa to Devahuti, he also showed the remaining 6 Dvipas or 6 islands of the Bhumandala. Bhuvagolam refers to the entire Bhumandala. The entire Bhumandala was shown to the different places that are there, and the entire Bhumandala were shown to Devahuti. Kardama taking her to different places and showed all the places to her. Just like after the battle between Lord Rama and Ravana, Kumbhakarna, Ityadi, all the Rakshasas of Lanka, everyone was killed. When Mother Sita went through the Agni Pariksha, then being requested by Vibhishana, Lord Rama and Mother Sita and all the monkeys headed by Hanuman and Sugriva, and along with Vibhishan and other people, important people, they all boarded on the Pushpaka Vimana, which was originally belongs to Kuvera, the eldest son of Vishravana. Vishravana's first wife gave birth to Kuvera. Vishravana's second wife gave birth to Ravana, Kumbhakarna, and Vibhishana and Shurpanaka, etc. So these were all children of second wife. Initially the first wife's son had this aerial mansion, and Lanka was actually belongs to Kuvera. But eventually, unable to tolerate the opulences of Kuvera, Ravana waged war against his step brother and defeated him and snatched away the kingdom, Lanka, snatched away the aerial mansion, Pushpaka Vimana, everything. But after defeating Ravana, Lord Rama gave that Pushpaka Vimana in the care of Vibhishana. And Vibhishana gave it back to Lord Ram. Lord Rama said, I cannot take. But Vibhishana told that, but if you, though no problem, you cannot take, but at least use it to go to Ayodhya, because you don't have much time. So there everyone is eagerly waiting. Your tenure of 14 years already completed. So then Lord Rama was while coming back along with Mother Sita and other monkeys, etc. on the pathway, because for the 13 years Lord Rama accompanied Mother Sita, and wherever they would go, Lord Rama would explain what are those places, what are the speciality and special significance of different places that they were visiting. But during the 14th year, at the beginning of the 14th year, when Mother Sita was abducted by Ravana in Chitrakoot, not Chitrakoot, in what is this? What do you call this? Parnashala? That Nasik, Panchavati. So from there she was kidnapped. So after Panchavati, where all Lord Rama went in the search of Mother Sita, all those places Mother Sita was away. So Lord Rama was describing about all those places where all Lord Ram went and where he met Hanumanji, where they met Sugriva, and where they fought with Wali and all other places. The way the monkeys have built the bridge and everything was shown to Mother Sita, and Lord Rama was explaining to her each and everything in detail. Something like that here. Kardama Muni was also showing and explaining about each and everything that they were visiting, being seated in the royal mansion. All the different wonderful places of the entire Bhuloka or the entire Bhumandala. So that's how they travel to all the different places of the entire Bhuloka. After traveling and after visiting all those places, they return to their ashram. Swashramaya Nevartata. Bahuacharyam Mahayogi, being astonished at the wonderful yogic display of opulences by Kardama Muni, eventually they return to their ashram area. So the tour of the entire Bhuloka was completed. Now they return to their ashram. Vivajjanavatmanam Manavim Suratostukam Ramam Niramayan Reme Varshapugan Muhurtava. So now, in order to beget children, in order to procreate with her, understanding the desire of Devahuti that she wanted to beget many children simultaneously at one go, Kardama Muni expanded himself into 9 forms. Navada Atmanam. He himself divided into 9 similar forms, and then he spent with her so much time in order to beget children. So Varshapugan Muhurtavat. So in those activities, so many years passed like a Muhurta. Tasmin Vimana Utkrishtam Sayam Ratikarim Srita Na cha Buddhyata Tam Kalam Pratyapichena Sangata. So as they were engaging in the activities of procreation, so much time has passed without their being noticed. They are being situated in the airplane. They passed so much time. How much time they passed? Evam yoganubhavena dampatyo ramamanayo satam vetiyu sarada kamalalasayormanak. So in the household activities, they have spent 100 years, and 100 years have passed like one muhurta, etc. Tasyam adatya retastam bhavayan atma natmavet nodda vidaya rupam sam sarva sankalpa vidvibhu. After spending together for 1000 years, now 100 years, in order to fulfill our desire of begetting many children simultaneously, the 9 divisions of Kardama, the 9 forms of Kardama, impregnated her one after the other 9 times. Noda Vidaya Rupam Swam, the 9 different forms of Kardama, impregnated her 9 times, one after the other. So thus, she was impregnated by Kardama 9 times in his 9 different forms. Atasa Sushive Sadyo Devahuti Shriya Praja Sarvastas Charu Sarvangyo Lohitotpala Gandava Gandaya. So there is a wonderful understanding here is that in Devatas, among the Devatas, the begetting children will happen immediately. As soon as the Devatas, the would-be mother and father would unite, in a small time, within a muhurta or so, our pregnancy period, after as soon as our conception, the pregnancy period of mother would be completed within a muhurta, and the child birth will take place, and within another muhurta time, the child will grow to youth. So in the heavenly abodes, there is no need to go through 9 months pregnancy difficulties, and there is no need to go through taking care of the children from day 1, day 2, week 1, week 2, month 1, month 2, year 1, year 2, like that. In a muhurta time, they will grow to youth. As soon as the conception is done, they beget children in a muhurta, and within another muhurta, they will become youth. So everything will take place within 1 or 2 muhurtas. That's why it is called Sadhyo. It is called actually Sadhyo Garbha. The birth will take place instantly. So this is what happens in the case of Devatas. But in the case of human beings, there is a 9 to 10 months pregnancy period. Then the taking child care, so many years, all the way up to 15 years, the parents need to take care of the children very nicely and very carefully. So much endeavor is required. But in the case of Devatas, it does not happen. But there are some cases which we can understand from Mahabharata, etc. What will happen if one human being and one Devata come together? So what kind of situation will take place in their situation? So for example, we'll take an example from Mahabharata. So since Pandu Maharaju was cursed by a sage that if he happens to unite with his wife, he will die immediately. So understanding that he will not beget children, he wanted to go to Himalayas and requested his wives to go to Hastinapur. But his wife said that no, we'll also follow you, no problem. We'll stay together, whatever it may be. So as Pandu was staying there, eventually understood that his elder brother, Dhritarashtra's wife, even though it was more than one year's pregnancy, but still she is not able to give birth to any children. So thinking that there will be no more heir to the kingdom, so Pandu Maharaj was worrying about his kingdom. That time Kunti Maharani reveals that previously she pleased Durvasa, who visited her father in Kunti Bhoja kingdom. That Kunti Bhoja engaged her daughter Kunti or Pruta in the service of Durvasa. And Durvasa, who becomes irritated very quickly, he was very much pleased with the tolerance and service attitude of Kunti Maharani. And while leaving, after spending Chaturmasa period, while leaving from that place, he actually gave a mantra to Kunti Maharani, telling her that, of course, Durvasa Muni is not an ordinary person. He understood that what is going to happen in the future. In order to help them, in order to be assistant in the pastimes of the Supreme Lord, he told her that mantra and told that whenever there is a situation arises, if at all you wish to beget children, you can invite any Devata and you will have a child with the potency of that Devata. So with that intention, once, because since she was very young, at that time she was said that she was 13 years old or something, very young girl. So out of childish simplicity, she wanted to test that mantra. So one day early in the morning, as soon as she got up, through her window, she saw the rising sun, looking very beautiful, because it's the rising sun only we can see, the daytime sun we cannot see. So since the sun is looking very beautiful in the crimson color and the red color, so she immediately remembered about the mantra given by Durvasa Muni. She just want to test whether this mantra really works, whether the Devata immediately comes. So she chanted that mantra. Immediately sun appeared in her home, and sun god said that you called me, so you need to beget a son. He said, no, I just tried to check the mantra whether it works or not. I don't want any children. But sun said that no, you have to, the mantra is meant to give a son. You have to accept a son. Otherwise, the Devatas will ridicule me. And whenever Devatas give their audience should not go in vain. The blessing should be given without fail. So you should accept a son without any problem. Then Kunti said that no, how can I accept a son? How can I beget a son? My virginity will be lost and my father will be, he will lose all his reputation. So it is not possible. So I cannot accept. Then Surya said that no problem. You will beget a son in such a way that your virginity will not be lost. And this son will not be the cause of the disreputation of your father, etc., etc. And this son will also be born with natural kavacha and kundala, natural armlets and armor, and he will be shining like me, and his body will have the radiance of my personality, etc. Some kind of blessings the sun gives. And immediately Surya looked at her and she became pregnant, and immediately she gave birth to the child. That is called Sadhyo Garbha. Here Kunti was a human being and son was a Devata. Since out of the two parents, one is Devata, one is human being, the birth took place immediately. birth happened immediately because father is Devata. So the mother no need to go through 9 months pregnancy period. She immediately gave birth to son. And later on what happened, we all must have read, heard or watched in some serial or drama, etc. in Mahabharata. So later on, she did not tell all these things, but she informed Pandu that previously have received mantra from Durvasa Muni. By utilizing that mantra, we can invite any Devata and we can beget a son through that Devata. That time Pandu Maharaj tells that please invoke a Devata. Then Kunti Maharani says that no, I cannot invite on my own. You please tell me which Devata I need to invite. According to your order, I can call upon that particular Devata. Then one full day, they performed severe austerities without even accepting water. That is kind of Nirjala Ekadashi. They performed one full day vrata. And the next day, early in the morning, after taking bath, after performing morning oblations, then Pandu Maharaj requested Kunti that I want a inherit who will protect the conduct of my Chandravamsha and will enhance the glory of my lineage. So I want a son who will be complete knower of dharma, who will be able to rule the citizens like his own children, who will be able to take care of the entire kingdom in the very highest form of religious way. So I want you to invite Dharmaraj, Dharma personified, Yamaraj, who is actually looking after the maintenance of dharma, etc. Please invite him and request him to give a son who will become the next king of our kingdom and will take care of the people in highly dharmic way, and he will rule over the people like his own subject, like his own children. So that was the request made by Pandu unto Kunti. And Kunti immediately offers that prayer and invites Yamaraj, and Yamaraj blesses Kunti. Here also, the son was born immediately, Sadhyo Garbha, but the child care has to go on. So the son of Kunti previously through sun god was actually left in the river. That son was collected by Adhiratha and Radha, and they took care of that son. And this son, the Pandu and Kunti were taking care of him. Eventually, 1 year later, again Pandu thought that, okay, I have requested for a son who can be religious, but while he is ruling the kingdom, there will be so many opponent people might cause disturbances. So how can he protect himself? If he is alone, he cannot protect himself. He cannot protect the people simultaneously. So I need to have another valiant, powerful younger brother of this son of mine, who can stop all the irreligious kings who are coming into my kingdom and troubling the people and troubling the king. So that if the borders are kept proper, under proper protection, the king can govern the kingdom in a religious way. If there are continuous attacks, peace cannot be maintained. Then Pandu, again, the Pandu and Kunti performed one more full day vrata without accepting even water. And the next day morning, he requested Kunti to invite Vayudev in order to beget a powerful son who can actually stop any kind of envious kings from entering into their kingdom. So as a result of that, they had Bhima. And after 1 year, so not after 1 year, immediately after few days, so Pandu thought that no, what is this? I have requested for one son. So now problem is, if one son is going on stopping the envious kings who are entering into my kingdom, then how can my son will expand the kingdom? So I need to have one son who will rule over the kingdom. I need to have one son who can stop the envious king entering into my kingdom. I need to have one more son who can go to the neighboring countries and expand the kingdom, expand the rule, because religious governance should be expanded all over the Bhumandala. Everywhere the religious governments should go on. So the religious governance should not be restricted to my own kingdom. It should go on everywhere. So I need to have one more son who can be like so well-dressed, so expert in all types of archery and all types of military arts, that he can go to any kingdom and expand the kingdom and establish the highly religious governance. Then they decided to perform one complete year austerities, of course, while taking care of other two children. So both Kunti and Pandu performed severe austerities for one complete year. in order to please Devendra, the king of the Devatas. Because Indra is such a wonderful personality, such a wonderful ruler, such a wonderful, powerful personality that no one can stand in front of him. Of course, sometimes he's also defeated, but in general, Indra is called the most valorous personality. And is also one of the wonderful devotees of the Supreme Lord. So, Pandu Maharaj this time not only wanted a valorous king, valorous son, he also wanted an Amsha of the Supreme Lord. Actually, he thought that I would like to have one Amsha of the Supreme Lord, but he was thinking that the Akashvani predicted that the Supreme Lord will appear in the family of Vasudev, my wife's brother's house. So he will appear. But we have also heard that he is a direct expansion of the Supreme Lord, Lord Balramji, would always accompany him. So I cannot ask for a Amsha of the Supreme Lord directly, because wherever Lord Vishnu comes, there only Sankarsana also comes. So Anantashish also comes. Wherever Vasudev is there, Sankarsana is there. Wherever Vishnu is there, Anantashish is there. I don't want to separate them. So let the Ananta, let the Sankarsana be born in Madura only. But I want to have one Amsha of the Supreme Lord. So in order to please Indra, in order to invoke an Amsha of the Supreme Lord, both Pandu and Kunti performed severe austerities for 1 complete year. So as a result of that, 1.5 years later, 1.5 years after the birth of Bhima, so Pandu Maharaj requested Kunti, after completing 1 year austerities, that now you please chant that mantra and invoke invoke Indra. So in order to have a powerful, wonderful, devoted son who can excel in all aspects. You will be powerful, you will be vigilant, and you will be valorous, who is expert at all types of arts, and is also a wonderful devotee of the Supreme Lord. So please ask for such a benediction. So Kunti requested Indra to bless such a son. So Arjuna was also born immediately, instantly. But since mother is a human, the father is divine, the childbirth took place immediately, and the child baby care went on in a natural course that we regularly see. And another example of the other way, the father is human being and the mother is the Devata category, the superhuman being category. Bhima, eventually when the 5 Pandavas along with their mother were supposed to be burned in the lake house by the plot of Duryodhana, somehow by the suggestions given by Vidura, the Pandavas escaped from that lake house and they were incognito. That time Bhima happened to had a fight with Hidimbasura. After killing him, he is supposed to marry Hidimbi, the younger sister of Hidimbasura, because Hidimbi liked Bhima very much. She, by the blessings of Kunti and Yudhishthira Maharaj, Bhima married her. They spent some time here and there. Eventually, they procreated. She became pregnant. She went through some few months of pregnancy, maybe 9 months we can think of. And after the 9 months pregnancy period, she gave birth to a wonderful son. And then, after the birth of that child, in no time, the child grew to youth, Kaishora Avastha. So here, since the father is of human category, the pregnancy period went on for 9 months. And since the mother is of superhuman category, she belongs to the Rakshasa category, the growth of the child in the Devatas category, there will be no growth. They don't want to go through the trouble of taking care of the children. Birth is over, then children goes to youth. So that is the situation there. So immediately the child grew to youth. So after naming him, after performing the basic ceremonies, name giving ceremony and Chikamunda ceremony, etc., the Pandavas left from the place of the Hidimbi's place. And then they went on, eventually they went to Kampilya and won over. Arjuna took part in that Swayamvar of Draupadi and he won over the hands of Draupadi, and then later on all other events of Mahabharata took place. So like that, there are so many other examples, but Mahabharata you can see clear classical example. In the case of Devatas, no pregnancy time, no child care time. In the case of human beings, 9 months pregnancy, 15 years of child care. If the father is Devata, instant birth, gradual growth. If the mother is of superhuman category, gradual birth, 9 months pregnancy period, and instant growth, such kind of things. So here, Kardama was the direct son of Brahma. He is in the category of Rishis. He is much more than the Devatas. And Swayambhu Manu was also the direct son of Lord Brahma. He is also a Prajapati. He is Swayambhu Manu, direct son of Brahma. He is also, though he is the ruler of the human beings, but he is not human being. He is also much more than the Devata category. And of course, Swayambhu Manu, Swayam Satarupa, his wife Satarupa, they are all Devata category. Their children is also not ordinary beings. They are also the Devata category. So both Kardama Muni, Rishi category, Devahuti is a Devata category, but they are still living in the Bhuloka, no problem. But still, as soon as they united, she conceived, childbirth took place, and they also grew up to the youth. That's why the word Sadhya is used. Atasa Sushuve Sadhyo Devahuti Shriya Praja Sarvastas Charu Sarvango Lohitotpalagandavya. So the 9 beautiful daughters were born to Devahuti instantly, because Kardama Muni impregnated her 9 times, because he expanded to 9 forms, each form impregnated her one after the other. As a result of that, she gave birth to 9 daughters instantly, of course, one after the other. So they are Charu Sarvangyo. They are very beautiful in respect to all their bodily limbs. And how their bodily limbs are there? Lohita Utpala Gandaya. They are as beautiful as lotuses, Utpala flowers, and they are as fragrant as the lotuses. So the beautiful girls, the 9 beautiful girls who are born to Devahuti and Kardama. Immediately, instantly. They have spent so much time traveling in the aerial mansion, visiting all over Mount Meru, Jambudipa, and all the other islands of the entire Bhumandala. Then they came to their ashram. There they have spent time together for 100 complete years. At the end of the 100 years, Devahuti conceived and she gave birth to children. So it is like that. Instantly, she became pregnant and gave birth to 9 children. Children were grown up to youth. Patim sa pravrajishantam tadal laksho sati bahi samayama smayamana viklavena hridayena viduyata. So now the problem started. As per the desire of Devahuti, Kardama Muni created aerial mansion, restored her beauty, allowed 1000 maid servants to serve her all these days very nicely, and took her on excursion to the entire Bhuloka, traveled for many years, many months, and came back to their ashram area, being situated in that aerial mansion. Only they spent time together as wife and husband for one complete 100 years. At the end of that, as originally promised, he impregnated her 9 times because she wanted to have more children, not one child. So in order to fulfill her desire at one go, he expanded 9 farms into 9 farms and impregnated her 9 times. As a result, she begot 9 children. Now, the second part of the promise, that as soon as she give birth to children, I will take on to renunciation and go into the forest. Now, Patimsa pra Vrajatishantam. He was ready to go to Vana. He was ready to enter into forest because he fulfilled all his conditions. Tada laksho sati bahi. And looking at her husband that he was leaving that kutir, leaving that ashram, she was looking at him. Smayamana viklavena. Externally, she is putting her face in a smiling, as if she was smiling. But internally, hridayena viduyata, she was actually burning within the heart. She was feeling so sad within the heart, within the core of her heart. She was not happy that her husband is leaving immediately. लिख्यन्ति यदो मुखिभूमिं पदानकमनिश्रिया उवाचा ललितां वाचां निरुध्याश्रु
Come,
कलांसु
come,
मे.
new car.
So immediately she was trying to speak to her husband, but she is not having that courage to speak. So in order to start her words, she was actually drawing lines with her toenails, moving her feet here and there, and she put her head lower. She lowered down her head, and her eyes were pouring down the tears. And so in that condition, suppressing her tears, she slowly opened her mouth and began to speak to her husband and began to express her heartfelt condition. What is happening within her, in the core of her heart. So that is what it will be the discussion for our next class, whenever it is going to happen. Whether we are going to have discussion during next week is hopefully His Grace Radha Gopinath Prabhu might be taking our class since it is last week. If Prabhuji is not taking class, we will continue. Otherwise, we will continue the next week. So we'll stop here with this verse, because from the next verse, so Mother Devahuti is going to express her concern. Why she was feeling so much tormented within the core of her heart. Externally, she is apparently smiling because she can also say no in one sense, because she also promised, she also agreed upon the condition that after begetting children, you can leave home. With that agreement, only that marriage took place. Since her husband is leaving, she actually is sending farewell to him in a pleasing countenance, pleasing face only, but within the core of her heart. So she was going burning, her heart is burning. She is going to express what is there in her heart, that we will discuss. That is explained in from verse number 51 to till the end of the chapter. We will discuss that later. So before opening for question answers, I would like to take 2-3 minutes. Just I would like to go to one verse. We will spend 2-3 minutes on that. What was that? This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 12, chapter 13. I think verse number 13. Yeah, perfect. So we'll just couple of minutes to spend on this. So this verse is in relation to the celebrations that all the devotees all over ISKCON throughout the world had celebrated yesterday. That was known as Bhadra Purnima. Currently, the month of Bhadra is going on. Started on the new moon day. 15 days already passed, and that Purnima, yesterday only it happened, Purnima, and today the Pratipad of Shukla Paksha. Yesterday it was full moon day. In the temple, we also conducted this Srimad Bhagavat Mahayajna, and in the last 15 days, the devotees were campaigning and making advertisements and doing so many programs in order to inspire devotees to purchase Bhagavatam. Because within the Bhagavatam, the last canto, last chapter, there is a verse glorifying about this particular condition. Praushtapadyam Paurnamasyaam Hemasimhasammanvitam Dadati yo Bhagavatam Sayati Paramam Gatim. So the meaning of this verse is, if on the full moon day of the month of Bhadra, one places Srimad Bhagavatam on a golden throne and gives it as a gift, he will attain the supreme transcendental destination. Praushtapadyam Paurnamasyam. Paurnamasyam means on the full moon day. Praushtapadyam means in the month of Bhadra. That Purnima which comes in the month of Bhadra, keeping Bhagavatam on Hema Simha Samanvitam, on a golden throne. Dadatiyo Bhagavatam. After worshipping the Bhagavatam very nicely, very wonderfully, keeping it on golden throne, if one gives the Bhagavatam in charity on this particular day, on the Bhadra Purnima day, Sayati Paramam Gatim, that person is qualified to go back home back to Godhead. But kindly understand that Bhagavatam should be given in charity to the qualified person. That is also important. Charity cannot be given to anyone and everyone. In order to receive charity, a person should be qualified. The charity should be given to a qualified person. That then only the charity becomes auspicious. So here, so couple of technical things, though they are not clearly understood from this, try to understand. I will explain. The one is Hema Simha Samanvitam. The Bhagavatam should be kept on a throne. golden throne, Hema Simha. So in our traditional way, the throne of a king is called Simhasana. Simha Asana. A lion throne. The king is seated on a lion throne because the king is like a lion. He is supposed to sit on the lion throne. So Bhagavatam is also king among the Puranas, should be seated on the lion throne. And the technical understanding is that the sun passes through 12 zodiac signs every month. So in our Vaishnava calendar, every month in the middle, around 15th or 16th, it is read that today sun is entering into so and so zodiac sign. Today sun is entering into so and so zodiac sign, like that. On April 17th, sun actually enters into Mesha Rashi. That's why it is called as Mesha Sankranti, etc. So, sorry, in my calendar it is not there, but in our Vaishnava calendar it comes. So sun entering into different zodiac signs. So it is understood that, it is explained that during this month, during the Bhadra month, the sun enters into Simha Rashi. Sun enters into Simha Rashi. Sun is said to be king among all the planets. Jyotisham Ravi Ramshuman. In Bhagavad Gita, 10th chapter, Vibhuti Yoga, Lord Krishna says, among all the brightening objects, I am sun. Among all the brightening objects that we see in the outer space, in the ether, the most brightening thing is sun. So sun is also said to be king among all the planets. So in that way. So that king among all the planets in this month of Bhadra enters into Simha Rashi, and he will become seated on the Simhasan. So just like during Simha Rashi, sun enters into Simha Rashi, Simha zodiac sign, Leo zodiac sign, and seated as a king on the Simhasan. In the same Rashi, during the same Rashi, on the full moon day, the Bhagavatam should be kept on the Simhasan, should be worshipped as a king being worshipped. Something like that. And another technical reason, another internal and very important reason is that Acharyas have explained that on this day of Bharata Purnima, Srila Sukadeva Goswami completed the narration of 7 days Bhagavatam. On this particular day of Bhadra Purnima, Sukadeva Goswami completed the 12 cantos of Bhagavatam and left from there, that place. And immediately Takshaka came on the pretext of the curse of Shringi. Takshaka bit Parikshit Maharaj. From the vision of the sages are around. But having heard the complete Bhagavatam perfectly, very nicely for the last 7 days, as soon as Sukadeva Goswami left from that place, Parikshit Maharaj sat in the yoga meditation, and then meditating on the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, he gave up the body and he went back to spiritual world, to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. After he left from the body, then Takshaka came and bit on the body, which is already dead, and the dead body was burned to ashes by Takshaka's bite. So just like having heard Bhagavatam for the last 7 days on the Bhadra Purnima day, Parikshit Maharaj went back to Godhead. Similarly, for the last 7 days, keeping Bhagavatam and a wonderful golden throne like Simhasana, whoever worships Bhagavatam by physically worshipping it and also hearing it from the mouth of a wonderful, pure devotee, wonderful, glorious devotee, if the Bhagavatam is given in charity after the 7 days recitation to a worthy person in charity, the giver of the charity will go back home, back to Godhead, just like, because he already served Bhagavatam every day, doing deity worship and every day hearing Bhagavatam for the last 7 days. On the 7th day, just like Parikshit Maharaj went back to Godhead, this person also becomes qualified to go back home, back to Godhead. So apparently in our temple, we do this sponsoring of Bhagavatam. We sponsor and give charity of Bhagavatam. But this entire thing also includes that hearing Bhagavatam. Of course, our temple, I mean, in our ISKCON, we promote that every day we should hear Bhagavatam. But at least from this point of view, but the last 7 days, Parikshit Maharaj heard this Bhagavatam. So one should actually worship the Bhagavatam and hear Bhagavatam for the last 7 days. And Bhadra Purnima, it should be given in charity. And one more important thing is that if you go back 7 days, Paurnami, the 7th day, if you go back 7 tithis, the first tithi of the beginning of the recitation of Bhagavatam would be on Ashtami or Navami. and that Ashtami we have celebrated as Radha Ashtami. So Radha Rani is, Srimati Radharani is Bhakti Devi personified, and Srimad Bhagavatam is also Bhakti personified literature. Just like Srimati Radharani is Bhakti personified, Srimad Bhagavatam is also Bhakti personified. Just like Srimati Radharani born or appeared on Radhashtami, the recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam from the lotus mouth of Srila Sukadeva Goswami started on Radhashtami, and it continued for 7 days, and it completed on Bhadra Purnima. So that's how we can actually see the entire connection to this particular event of Bhadra Purnima. And it is one of the important event. It is not that we should only do 7 days, but we should hear Bhagavatam every day. But if someone can start hearing Bhagavatam for the last 7 days, starting from Radhashtami all the way up to Bhadra Purnima, and if it is given in charity to a worthy person, a wonderful devotee, and this person can become qualified to go back to Godhead. So that is the understanding of this verse. So this is like one of the glorifying verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. So just because of the occasion, I wanted to speak and explain this verse. So thank you very much for joining us today, and thank you very much for allowing me to present my thoughts on this Bhagavatam. I don't have much realizations, so whatever I read, I just presented. So thank you very much. If some devotees have any queries, we will take. Otherwise, we can go on with the Kirtan.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Little louder, Mataji. Your voice is not clear.
Hare Krishna. Can you hear me now?
Yes, Mataji.
Thank you for the explanation, Prabhuji. This was really amazing, the last part. And I'm very happy to hear about it. I just wanted to say thank you for that. Thank
Hare
you
Krishna.
very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
Hare.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Yeah, Danda Pranam, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for a wonderful explanation about the Bhadra Purnima. It was really, indeed, it was the epitome of your class today.
Hare, no, Prabhuji.
Thank you very
I'm
much.
just repeating whatever I have read. Nothing.
Amazing, Prabhuji. Thank you very much once again. Shall we request His Grace Rishabhanu Prabhu to do some kirtan, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhu. We can go ahead with the Kirtan. Hare Krishna, if at all some devotees have some questions to ask, we can take up questions after the Kirtan.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Vinate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschyata Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare